Good evening. I am Sachin Garg, and it is my pleasure to welcome all of you on our webinar on Leadership for Quality. Leadership for Quality is one of the most debated subjects. As and when I meet other fellow quality professionals, they often express leadership and their commitment towards quality is their number one challenge. Today's webinar will be presented by Mr. Suresh Lulla, often referred as the quality guru of India. Mr. Lulla founded Qimpro Consultants 31 years ago as first dedicated quality management consultancy firm in the country. He has been mentored by Dr. J.M. Juran, the man who taught Japan to manage for quality. Mr. Lulla has over 50 years of experience as a management consultant, speaker, trainer, coach, author, and a storyteller. As with earlier webinars, today's webinar is also powered by one of Mr. Lulla's quality fables. He uses his stories to demystify concepts for us. I have loved every single one of his 75 quality fables. If you wish to get your hands on them, please order the books from qimpro.com/store. Before we begin, I would like to inform you that a recording of this webinar will be available on Qimpro's website and their LinkedIn page. So please do follow their website and subscribe to their LinkedIn page. We hope that you enjoy next 30 minutes. I look forward to your responses to the questions which will be posed towards the end of this webinar. Look forward for your feedback. With that, over to you, Mr. Lulla.
Thank you, Sachin, for your kind introduction. Good afternoon, friends who've registered for this webinar, our sixth. The subject today is leadership for quality. Usually, leadership is referred to for finance. The focus here would be leadership for quality. In the early 90s, I was having a conversation with Mr. Bir Singh, the managing director of Voltas at that point in time, and our Qimpro Gold Standard of some subsequent year, about leadership for quality. And he opened my mind by making a statement: mind of a manager, soul of a leader. Translated, that means left brain logical thinking of a manager and right brain creative thinking of a leader. The right brain being well connected to the heart and soul. So let's get started. What are the attributes of a quality leader? The leader is a trainer, a coach, a counselor, a facilitator, and recognizer. These are the attributes that were taught to me by Dr. Juran. Leadership is all about being a catalyst with your people. So what is a trainer? A trainer is one who trains many people in a classroom. And generally, these are some basic concepts. So who is a coach? A coach, a counselor, one-to-one. on specifics. Let me expand this with a leadership grid. On the x-axis, we have competency. As you can see, the low and high. On the y-axis, we have motivation. Once again, low and high. In any organization, you're going to find people with low competency and low motivation. We call them dinosaurs. You also find people with low competency but very high motivation. They are active, running all over the place. Rats in a wheel. Then you have very competent people who lack motivation. We call them cynics. Oh, that won't work, etc., etc. Give it time, it won't happen. And we have high motivation and high competency. We call them stars. Leaders should identify their dinosaurs. These dinosaurs, we don't know why they exist in an organization. You also need to identify the stars. They do 80% of the work. These 20% stars do 80% of the work. So we are left with rats in a wheel, X%, and cynics, the balance, 60 minus X%. The culture of an organization is established by the number of rats you have and the cynics. So what's the role for leadership here? The role of leadership is to ignore the dinosaurs. Be bold enough to get them out surgically from the organization. It's not always easy, but that's the intent. Work with the stars and make more of your people stars. So how do you convert rats into stars? By coaching, one-on-one. On the skills the rat requires, the competency the rat requires to become a star. The plus point is they're already highly motivated. Then you have cynics to stars by counseling one-on-one on behavior. So now we understand what training is, what coaching is, what counseling is, and therefore what is a facilitator. A facilitator is a catalyst who can recognize these people even in a project team and enable them through coaching and counseling to perform to the highest level. Leaders should be facilitators. Organizations make the mistake of just labeling people facilitator. A facilitator will need training on how to conduct a meeting, how to keep people on track, teaching the art of communication, clarifying, confirming, learning how to give feedback, not just corrective, but also positive feedback, and learning to deal with resistance. As you can see, this is a mix of coaching, counseling, and making it happen. And so a leader needs to be a recognizer. I'm not referring to annual awards that are given. I'm referring to recognizing people at the right time, at the right place, for the right reason. People are not stupid. They want to know what you have appreciated about their actions, and that should be repeated. They also want this recognition in the presence of their peers, who would then benchmark the individual for the best practice. Over and above all this, the quality leader must have a vision. Now, the term vision and mission is often confused one with the other. According to the definition of performance excellence, a mission is the reason you exist, the purpose of your existence. Vision is a snapshot of what you wish to become. Did Mahatma Gandhi have a mission? Did he have a vision? Yes to both. Did Mother Teresa have a mission and a vision? Mission of a missionary, vision of a visionary. A quality leader must be customer driven. After all, customer defines quality. Customer is the final inspector. Customer pays your salary. This thought was seeded into the Indian population by none other than Mahatma Gandhi. You exist because you have a customer, and it is your duty to treat the customer with dignity. Mahatma Gandhi has featured on the cover of several quality journals and magazines internationally. Unfortunately, no journal or magazine in India, quality journal or magazine, has featured Mahatma Gandhi. Quality leader must walk his talk. People listen to what you say, they believe what you do. And this in particular relates to values. Leaders conduct sessions on values, on walking the values. They do their talking. Examples of such leaders are Jack Welch of GE, Azim Premji of Wipro, Narayan Murthy of Infosys. When do they conduct this and to which audience? Typically, the new recruits in the organization. Some are first-timers, others are from other organizations. But their first interaction is on values, and that too conducted by leaders of this eminence. I'd now like to go into a fable. As you know, a fable is facts, but there's also a little bit of fiction which is permitted to an author. This quality fable demonstrates that leaders must be extraordinary trainers and coaches. The title is Sweating the Training. In the 1990s, a multinational business organization had collaborated with an Indian partner manufacturing business machines. This organization was a preferred employer at all campuses. Why? Because it was perceived to be a learning organization. It is Delhi, and I go to this chairman and note he's sweating it out. It's the peak of winter, biting cold, but the chairman was sweating. He was the primary investor. He sweated in his car and home and office for the past 2 days. He had received a call from his European office in Switzerland to attend a top management training there. So I happened to meet him 2 days later and was delighted that he is going to Switzerland for a top management briefing. That's nice, I said, to which he reacted, that's not nice. Why? He explained that a head of HR had flown in from Switzerland to debrief him for the session. So he needed to do some prior preparation. He was expected to absorb the contents from a trainer's paradigm. Now, this man had never trained a soul. He was expected to replicate the training for the next line, his senior managers. In turn, the senior managers would have absorbed the training as trainers and would replicate the training for middle-level managers. That's fine. So, the chairman was expected to coach each of these senior managers on how to conduct training. Wow. In preparation, he was asked to prepare studying the course materials, which were stacks and stacks meant for trainers. I now understood why the chairman was so upset. What are the lessons we learn from here? Training starts at the top. Leaders must be extraordinary trainers and coaches. A cascading model of training is most cost effective. Just imagine the chairman. A, he does pre-work study, he attends a class. 2, 3, he conducts a training for the senior managers. 4, he coaches them on training. And 5, he audits their trainings as they train the next layer. 5 times the reinforcement of the skills and beliefs of the organization. Debriefing is a key step for effective training. Why am I being sent for training? What do you expect me to do differently when I return? The training process starts with debriefing and coaching the next level. In a cascading model, the pre- and post-training is at least tenfold more than the actual training man-hours. The key concepts included in the training get internalized and therefore become easily actionable. Training without action is easily forgotten. In summary, leaders must walk their talk. A cascading model for training internalizes the education, makes it actionable. A cascading model for training is most cost effective. And finally, in the words of Dr. J.M. Duran, be a leader, not a cheerleader.
Thank you, Mr. Lulla. Once again, it was a pleasure to hear your insight about this subject, leadership for quality. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope this webinar was useful and you have taken the poll. The quick self-assessment we are offering is a broad level assessment to give you a flavor of this product. The full-length self-assessment includes detailed issue-level questions, making the entire exercise more relevant. I have been a part of this exercise with my previous employer and fully endorse power of this product. We now open for questions. Please click the Q&A icon on your screen and not the chat icon to type in your questions. Okay, some questions seems to have come in, Mr. Lulla. The first question is outsourcing training a better idea for a senior leader? After all, he or she can free up some extra time for running the business.
Okay, that's a rather tricky question. I would answer it in 2 parts. One is, training is not fully delegable. 2, there's a difference between education and training. In education, you learn about tomorrow. How relevant would you be tomorrow? What are the skills needed for tomorrow? What is the environment going to be for tomorrow? Education. Training helps you prepare for today with skills. training should not be outsourced. Education can be outsourced. Call in the experts to come and speak to your company about, say, climate change. Come and talk to your organization about safety. Talk about any other aspect that is tomorrow, marketing 4.0. Come and talk to us about digital customers, automated robotic processes, and so on. But training is about your ability to do today's work better. No one is better equipped than the person you report to who should have leadership skills. And as I've underlined, a good leader is also a trainer, coach, counselor, facilitator.
Thank you, Mr. Lulla. That indeed answers some of the following questions we received, which primarily asked about characteristics and essence of visionary leaders. We take some more questions. Some of the questions we have received is to seek more information and elaboration on the people which you classified as dinosaurs.
Who are dinosaurs? You see dinosaurs largely in family businesses. You find them, someone's nephew's husband, wife, what have you, some relationship is planted there, who has no reason to be part of the overheads of your organization. You inherit these people. Why they were recruited, we don't know. But it takes a leader to recognize who they are and work around them. I can't tell you anything more than that.
Thank you, Mr. Lulla. The next question we take is your advice to young leaders.
To young leaders, every person joining an organization has inherently some leadership skills, or should have leadership skills. A leader is not a designation. Leader is a quality. And leadership is a quality. And it all works around being a good facilitator, being good in your relationships with people, being a visionary about your work. So young people should apply their minds to leadership skills. And these skills sound very simple, but they're actually quite hard to implement. As I said earlier, trainer, coach, counselor, facilitator, recognize that. To recognize, do you know how to give positive feedback? It shouldn't be flattery. You need to be very specific about what you expect others to improve and perform at that high standard in future and be an inspiration to the people around. So my advice to them is don't get lost in numbers and just do number crunching to take decisions. No. There's a right brain aspect of management. That's leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Lulla. So the next question is about leadership. Leadership is an inborn quality. The skills and the style of the leaders are different. How is it possible to assess the leadership styles?
One would be democratic, the other would be autocratic. And what we are advocating is a more collective leadership, a collaborative leadership. Leadership is not a singular, it's a plural. When you look at it from an organizational point of view, and you talk of leadership, there's a buy-in from all top management to that vision and mission and the values of the organization. And they're taking you there. So, I advocate a more collaborative approach, for which you also need to be an excellent facilitator, communicator.
Thank you, Mr. Lulla. The next question is about COPQ. You are an evangelist for halving COPQ to double profit. Does training contribute to this COPQ?
Okay, let's see how we can put that together. What is the KRA for a head of training? So many man days of training per employee per annum, right? So what does the training head do? Sets out a calendar for the year, announcing the courses, etc., and you are expected to populate it, because each individual also has that KRA as to how many man days of training they should achieve in a year. Now, the boundary conditions are that a course can be conducted only if you have a minimum of 10 in the class. And let's take a hypothetical situation that it's Friday and there have been 3 registrations. What does the training head do? The training head phones up his best friends in the organization. Please, please, please send someone to this course, or else I can't hold it and I'm going to miss my KRA. So who does that friend identify for sending? The person who's sitting idle in the room, probably a dinosaur. And they go to be trained and they come back. The HR head has accomplished something, but what has the organization lost? Wasteful costs. You may have some idle people taking the course whose resume is in the market. Whom are you training for? Your competitor? There's a big COPQ in training. Equally large is in meetings, conduct of meetings. We run from meeting to meeting. There's a COPQ there because I don't know what I'm doing in that meeting, what did I contribute, and I've come back with no learning. Quality of meetings. Look at the cost per man hour of senior people. Sitting in meetings, making no contribution, and the meeting being poorly designed because there's no objective for the meeting. There's just an agenda. What are the decisions at the end of the meeting? What are the action points? So, yes, I am quite emphatic that training can turn out to be a cost of poor quality. That doesn't mean you don't have training. Let me just add one more thought. Training with action is remembered. So, if you're on a strategic journey and you need a certain skill to resolve a tiger hill on your way to the strategic goal, identify the most appropriate person and send that person for that relevant training, which will be actioned within a week or 10 days of his coming back. If you are doing training for the sake of training, that's a big mistake. The action, and therefore the pre-work, the debriefing should be there. Why are you being sent for training? Because you fit into a larger strategic, operational, tactical plan. Okay. That's a long answer.
Thank you, Mr. Lulla. And I must say that the questions doesn't seem to finish here. We have limited time on the webinar. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's all we have for today. The February webinar is on cost of poor quality. I highly recommend this topic, as Qimpro's signature claim is that their clients have saved in excess of 25,000 crores by strategically addressing cost of poor quality. The dates will be announced shortly. For updates on the webinars, events, digital courses, self-assessment, and Mr. Lulla's blogs and articles, please follow Qimpro on their LinkedIn or WhatsApp your name. The details are on your screen. Qimpro uses the broadcast feature on WhatsApp, so you will need to add your Qimpro's number to your contacts in order to receive these messages. Thank you, Mr. Lulla, once again. Thank you, all of you, once again. We look forward to join us in our next webinar, and let us declare war on waste. Thank you.
Thank you, Sachin. War on waste. That's a good one.